What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is Agree to Disagree. Come talk some post-game Phillies with us. And as always, Harden and the Eagles. Let's go.
Oh my God!
I'm embarrassed!
He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome in, everybody. This is Agree to Disagree, only on A2D Radio. Every Sunday, we are brought to you by our doc, Make Them Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web right down there, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. As always, Nick DelGozzo, Greg Milakovic, no Brian Wilson, another vacation. All right, another vacation for the big fella. Somebody's got to pay for the big fella's vacations. And our doc, Make Them Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal is on with us tonight as well. I'm Tom Arnone, and we got a lot to talk about. Crumb of the week at the end of the show. Eagles preseason continues. James Harden, right now, a fat suit in the locker. Now he brings the fat suit out of the locker. What a loser. We'll get into Harden, the Sixers, the train wreck they are. And our main topic at hand is going to be, well, we're also getting the Phillies upcoming week. We got some big series coming up for the Phillies. They come home for a minute, and we'll give our Phillies Nationals post-game. That's our main topic of the night. Ties into our poll question, brought to you by our good friends over at Baggio's Bread, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. They're the home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs, you name it. Mention A2D Radio, get 10% off. So go check out Baggio's Bread, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And our poll for tonight's show, it is time for Rob Thomson to make Kyle Schwarber the Phillies everyday DH. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Most importantly, join the conversation, comment in, whatever you want to get off your chest. If it's Harden's bothering you and you got the type that makes you feel better, please do it. If it's the Phillies tonight that need to make you feel better, it's losing 2 out of 3 of the Washington Nationals, please do that as well. Or if it's just the Eagles make you excited, it's almost time, 'tis the season, comment. Let us know to the poll. I think it's easy to say, like, agree, right? It's easy to be, agree. But we talked about it, we talked about it a little bit last week. We talked about it since he's gotten here, is that you want to give other guys some day off too, but you sort of, you could say you don't need his bat in the lineup every day, but it's still a power bat that you like to have somewhere in your lineup daily, okay? Especially this year when you're missing guys. So, would you like to get guys a day off their feet and just hit? Sure. You know what I mean? So that's why I'll disagree though, because there's going to be times that he might have to play left field, like once or twice a week. I don't think it needs to be like he's just a walking DH. I think he's atrocious in the field, right? But I can deal with it a couple times a week. I'm not like he never could play the field again for him. Like that kind of guy. I'm not there on him. But more times than not, I'd rather see him DHing, right? Okay, when you need to give guys a breather, then to go throw him out the left once or twice a week, just so he's out there, right? So he's still at least semi-comfortable with it. But late in games, right? He's a guy that I'm probably taking out, depending. I'm definitely taking out in the 9th, right? If I'm in a 1-run game or a 2-run game, he's coming out of that baseball game in the 9th. Okay, so we already know that moving forward. So I'm just not going to agree because you want the flexibility, right? And we talked about that. You want the flexibility of JT doing it. You want the flexibility of Harp still doing it. Even Nick once in a while if you want to get him a day off his feet, but you don't want to lose the bat. So, the list goes around on guys that you can use that for at different times. But with our offense, like he's been atrocious batting average wise. We know that. I'm not an analytical nerd, so I'm not going to talk about just home runs and on base percentage. He's been downright atrocious batting average wise. But it's not a bat that they're going to want out of their lineup more days than not. So we have to understand that. And we have to say, okay, well, yeah, I want him to be primarily a DH, so I'll agree to that. But I'm not going to agree to, every day he can never play left again, guys. So I'll disagree because I know it's easy to agree. So what do you guys say?
Yeah, you want me to you go, Gary? I can't hear you anyway, Greg. I know. I realized it was just muted. So go ahead.
Yeah, I know what Tommy's saying. I mean, I'll lean towards agree, but with leave it open ended in the sense where, to answer the question, I'll say agree. But yes, you still got to leave the flexibility there. You still got to leave. There should be some days off, right? Not after he hits a couple home runs, but like when he's like 0 for like 15 and he's scuffling, yeah, it's time for a little pine time. You know what I mean? So, and I know people, the masses, not the masses, but there's a good majority of the nerds that'll tell us like, he leads the league in walks and on base percentage. And that's all fine and dandy. You know what I mean? We don't have to go back to 1980 and the running Redbirds. Where but the game has semi come back to that with some of these new rules, the pickoffs and stuff. You see the steals are up. But I don't know. Listen, I enjoy. I think if there was nobody else to do it, regarding the leadoff spot, then I think it's like, okay, I understand your argument. Because as Topper says, hey, it could be 1-0. When he leads off the game, that's great. You know what I mean? That's but when it happened with Ricky Henderson and Alfonso Soriano, they also did a lot more than just lose a baseball. You know what I mean? Like, they did a lot, they brought a lot more to the table. Like, Schwarber is, he's feast or famine. It's Walker or home run. I know he had 2 singles yesterday, part of that merry-go-round 8th inning, that was cute. That was awesome. You know what I mean? But when you have a guy like Stott who has showed that he has mature at bats, he's becoming more seasoned than his age. We call him daycare, and that's all fine and dandy because was a great nickname. But when you see a guy that looks like he's not a second-year guy anymore, he can swing the bat. Him and Bomer can swing the bat, and I just, I would love to see those two guys in the 1-2 spot. Followed by your boppers. All right, there's no reason that your guy that can lose the ball 32 times is a guy, Stott singles. Their only run is a single, fielder's indifference, and then a daycare single. But it keeps the game alive. But my point is, you get your 2 youth guys up there that have showed they can hit at this level, and they're getting on base, they're producing, they're driving in runs, they're creating offense. And then you have your boppers where you got Harp, Casty, JT, Schwarber, wherever you want to do. And then obviously you have Turner. You know what I mean? Like, here we go again. They almost got shut out again. Thank goodness they didn't. And this isn't a would have, could have, should have game. But you almost got shut out again. And just because he had 2 home runs yesterday, you got to switch him and Bohm. Come on, Topper. Let's use a little. Let's use your head a little bit. Sometimes when you tinker with the lineup, it does affect guys. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying it. Was going to be a direct impact of tonight. You know what I mean? But offensively, he did nothing against a retread. Basically, that's the guy was. He's a major league arm, but he's been with a ton of teams. And like I said, they almost got shut out again. So, and Wheels did a good job of settling in after the first, 5 straight hits, so kudos to him, so the pen didn't have to get abused tonight. But yeah, so, I got a little on a tangent there. I would say agree, and then I'll move on to the next 2 guys. But with some flexibility, because, again, JT should be in the lineup. I don't know why he needs a complete day off. It drives me up a wall. So I think it's time from a defensive standpoint. It's getting a little ridiculous out there, which we knew he was who he was, but I think we're tired of watching it. So it needs to happen more late in the game, and don't worry about his bat coming up. Just hope that, your pen can get 6 outs and his spot doesn't come up again. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I'll also agree. It'd be different if we didn't have able bodies to play left field, right? I mean, with the bring up and the emergence of Rojas, right, taking over center field, and then you either have Marsh or Cave if it's Topper's cup of the day, right? He's going to put Cave out there, right? They're at least able bodies to play left field. I do agree, Tommy. You are right. You do need him out there one day a week just to give somebody a blow. But that's primarily it. I don't need to see him out there anymore. I thought, it felt like the point of Harp coming back and playing first base was also to get that flexibility back of being able to use somebody else as the DH, then continuing to roll Harp in there every day. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see Harp at first base if that's where he's going to play. Like, that's where the lineup is best. And like I said, you're defensively so much better with Marsh and Rojas roaming the outfield out there. And so, he keeps his bat in the lineup. He even lead off. I don't like it, but we know Topper's going to do that. But he can start DHing a lot more, and I hope he does here down the stretch.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you, man, Greg. That's there's so many options you have defensively out there in the outfield that especially as we're getting close to the end of the season and all these games matter. We want to position ourselves for the playoffs. Having a defensive liability is not the greatest thing, but yeah, guys need some time to rest so you can put them out there. But I would think making him the DH, and then I hate him in the leadoff spot. There's like two issues for me. Playing the outfield more games than not, and then in the leadoff spot, I think like he walks a lot. That's great, but like he's not a fast runner, and like you want to get things started. So if you get a guy on first base right away, get the next contact hitter up next, try to advance that, the speed on the bases type of thing. So I don't know. I would like to see him down lower in the lineup where he can bash once guys get on base.
Yeah, Paul, good point too. With Schwarber just clogs it then leading off. Like Turner, it almost slows Turner down, right? Like so if Turner hits the ball in the gap, he has a chance for a leadoff, a triple out of the 2-hole, right? And you'll just use him as an example, right? Like now Schwarber's on first base. He's up his butt. So he might have to get held to a double. So it just changes things. And that's just little examples, not big ones, but that's just like a little example.
Yeah. And that wasn't part of the question, but we all go to that because it drives us up a wall. And that's the analytic guys don't want to, like, that's what I feel like they fail to see. You know what I mean? Like they just want to hit us with that. And that's when you become robotic and you don't open yourself up for a bigger discussion. And that's all we're saying is, hey, the walks are beautiful. That's great. He can lose a baseball. Beautiful. Right. But he gets it when he does walk, as as Doc's saying, it just, I think that's 4-3, boys. Not done yet. That's for Greg.
Shut me up, Jake. Shut me up, Jake.
That's for Greg. Not done yet.
Let's go.
That's not done yet. So yeah,
Jake Cave.
Can we have another 11 run? 11?
Sometimes you need, you need 2 hits to score them, and that's just, and you could say, well, that's anywhere you put them. Yeah, but that's, you get, especially with the new rules, you get a guy, in the leadoff spot that can run. Right now you just put so much more pressure on the defense. That's all.
Mm-hmm. No, and the other thing is, like, if this poll was talked about next year, right? Like if this poll was like, hey, for 2024, he's got to be primarily a DH. I'm all in for that. That's the easiest agree of all time. For the rest of this year, I agree with everything you guys said. Like, you obviously have more speed out there. Like Greg and Doc said, like, you guys talk about more speed out there with Marsh, Rojas. If Pache comes back, Cave, whoever you want out there, they're better defenders than him. So, I have no problem with that happening late in games. But it's just, again, it just depends on what bats you want in your lineup. So to give yourself flexibility, I don't know if I want to. That's where I circle back to, like, a primary DH. That's every day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm probably going to need you to play the outfield at least 2 days a week for me right now for the rest of this year. Now, come the playoffs, let's revisit this conversation. It's still going to be the same. Like, I might be on, hey, gonna need you just hitting, right? So it's just like it's all time and place. So I agree with you guys. Like, down the stretch, all these games start to matter too. And that's so true, right? And you don't want to keep. I don't say keep losing games. You don't want to lose games because of him defensively, right? Which I don't have a crystal ball how those games play out if he makes catches, but most of them they've been bad. But he's also made some good catches out there where you're like, oh, okay, Schwartz, You know what I mean? You're not total trash out there. Like, you know, I mean, you just can't move. I mean, we just got to be fair.
Sorry, buddy.
JT
JT
wasn't
pinch
close.
hit. JT pinch hit, slider in the dirt. Terrible. Sinker in the dirt. To Tom's point, yeah, tremendous.
8.5 over 8.5.
Tremendous point, though, Tom, because I thought the same thing yesterday. Before the Phillies decided to hit the trampoline, that half inning before that, after they tied it, I thought Lane Thomas gave him the lead. The ball didn't get out, but Schwarber got it at the fence, left center, deep, left center, tracked it down, and I didn't give him a plug nickel. All right, when the ball was hit, I thought even if that ball's not out, that's down. That's down. That's a triple. So I hear you, buddy. I hear you. You know, he'll show some signs that he's got a pulse, but it's time to make a move and keep the flexibility there. But that's enough's enough. Damn.
Far and few between, right? So like we've seen so many plays into the gap of left center, right? How many plays too early this year were him and Marsh, and like first off, like Marsh, you gotta know, like, hey, go after everything out there.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is Kyle just can't get this stuff that usually most left fielders are running and catching without even having to dive, where he would have to do like 10 full extensions to get there. So, and you can see them like, it's just not the communication not being there because of this, Marsh or Pache, whoever thinks, oh, that ball's caught by Schwarber, right? So there's not just like, oh, he lays out and drops the ball, or routine fly ball. Not routine, but a ball he's coming in on, he doesn't get to, right? It's not just those. There's a few more mixed in. But when he's hitting, right, and he's hitting at the level he can hit at times, it's like, I'll run him out in left field every day. But when you're 0 for 4, and then you're not bringing us anything defensively, then it's even more of a reason.
It's even more glaring. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. If he's batting 220, and that's far from good. But if he's batting 220, which is 40 points higher than where he's at, you're right. It's a totally different conversation because it feels like he's more involved and is trending in more of a positive impact on the game than what he's currently doing right now.
Let me ask you a question, guys. Is the JT pinch hit right there? Who's he pinch hitting for?
Stubbs.
I just hate bringing guys cold. I hate it. I'm not trying to I never give JT cop outs, but I hate the cold at bat with 2 outs and nobody on. I hate the cold.
Well, that's why I had to look too, because for Stubbs, absolutely, I didn't know who it was for, and I'm with you. I get it. You know what I mean? But you're down 1, he can lose a baseball. So
no, it's true. No, I just like to play the guy who's been playing all game.
Yeah.
And hopefully, he finds one. Right, because it's a little wake up, like bringing him off the pine. If there's a guy on first, I love it because now, like the pressure on the pitcher. To me, the pressure's not even on the pitcher there. He's not going to give him anything to hit. And obviously he didn't.
He got one and he fouled it back. Yeah, he got one pitch to hit.
Well, and what does Mitch always say? What does Mitch always say in those situations? Once you get the first strike on guys, you can go out and zone the rest of the time. And most guys are going to extend the zone for you and get themselves out. Yeah, right.
And Schwarber is on deck, so. You kind of had to go at him, or in his repertoire, he threw a 6-splitter right there.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But I hear you, and I like what they did there too. I hate the fraudulent thing. Like, why didn't I just wish I don't want to say fraudulent. I understand it doesn't happen in Major League Baseball, and I'm not saying it has to happen after every game, but sort of like when a hockey playoff series ends, I like the handshake line. So maybe after the last game of the series, maybe we shake hands, and people are like, "Oh, sweet! What do you want everybody to wear name tags?" No, but then why do it here then? Why do it here then? Why? Because they're at the Little League World Series. That's where I think it's fraudulent. Then. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, why do it here? You know what I mean? Because there's kids watching. Kids are watching all the time. So
I do like it at the end of the series, though. I do. Yeah, I do agree with
that. I like that idea.
The last series, let's go, man. See it. Nice job. See it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It goes a long way. You know what I mean? Like I said. If you're, just don't do it now. Then my point is, if you're never going to do it, or never going to have an idea to do it, whether it's in the playoffs or not, then don't do it here. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're in Williamsport. Let's shake hands. Like, come on, knock it off. And that being said, I love this game. I think this is great. I'm glad they built a quasi stadium or whatever they did, and a playable field, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, what is this? What is they built? I guess they built this one for this.
Yeah, it's right next door. I think that first year, they obviously fixed it up. I think the first year they tried it was like a Homer Dome, and then they realized, all right, we gotta fix this a little bit. So
yeah, it has been a launching pad in the past.
Yeah.
Which is why I had the over.
Yeah. Hey, 4 in the first, and you're like, dude,
I was looking good.
Yeah. Julio only had one hit. He cooled off.
Yeah, poor guy. I don't know if he's going to make it after that.
Walter says the home run quiets things. Schwarber hits one in the 9th Friday, and that's it. Cave hits one, and base is clear, and that's it. No pressure, no one on base. Yeah, sometimes if it's not like that, it doesn't tie it up. It's like
yeah,
almost rather have a double in the gap. You know
a little bit of a rally killer.
Yeah, I know what Walter's saying. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
You're right, though.
You'll take it. I mean, you'll take
single or double in the gap. Keep the merry-go-round going.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Joseph, I hope they're not overlooking anybody at this time of the year. You know what I mean? You would hope like that they're smart enough, especially a Washington team that's played everybody tough.
They've been one of the best teams the last month and a half.
Yeah,
as well.
They got some good young talent. They have some good young players that are starting to play well. And it's like you can't overlook a divisional team, and you can't look at a team like right now. I mean, there's 7.5 back in a wild card spot, which is crazy to say. That's like, I'm not going to say a striking distance, but
but I will say,
come on. So you think I'm serious enough?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I mean, is as unacceptable as this is, to Greg's point, and at least from a lineup standpoint, they got some nice young players, and their lineup creates some pressure. They've been swinging the bats for a couple months now. Their pitching is atrocious. That's where you can't, like I said, made a little noise there in the 9th, but you're close to you shut out for 8 innings. That can't happen. So once Wheels settles down, that's a game you win. You need to win 5-4, 6-4. Come on.
And you crushed their bullpen yesterday. It's the perfect time to get back into it, right? Get back into their bullpen.
Yeah,
and this is where but this is the ongoing issue with this offense now for, we could say a full calendar year, right? Like where the inconsistencies, right? Where they'll just disappear, but then they'll have outbursts like they did yesterday, right? Which is great in the moment, but you can almost smell it, right, guys? Like we come in today, like, here we go. Like they're minus 230, and I'm like, if I could bet in Florida right now, I would probably bet Washington. You know what I mean? Like I probably bet Washington, plus whatever, just because you could smell it coming.
That was like last Friday with the Twins, right? You beat them 12-3. Everyone's feeling good about themselves, and then you mope your way through the next 2 games against good pitching, right? It almost seems like when you're facing good pitching is when they struggle, when it should be, but they also don't feast on bad pitching all the time. It's so weird. They're the definition of Jekyll and Hyde, right?
Yeah, like you said. I mean, Trevor Williams is a retread. He's been on a million last week. He's been on a million teams. Like you said, they punished him last week. So, credit, like we talked about at the top of the hour. Credit to Wheels. You know what I mean? Like, he got ambushed in the first inning, and that's an easy 3-inning start. If you feel bad for yourself and you pack it in, you give up 7 runs and maybe even Topper lets him wear it for 5 innings. You know what I mean? So credit to him. He gave up 5 hits in a row and then 2 over 6 innings. Then he went 6 innings, a 2-hit ball, six scoreless innings of 2-hit ball after the first inning. So credit to him. That's what an ace does. It just wasn't good enough tonight, but we've been saying it for a while now. Wheels. You never have to really worry. You never have to worry about Wheels.
What's interesting is despite their inconsistencies offensive wise, I mean, they're still, what are they, the first or second wild card team right now?
Yeah, they're the first still.
Yeah, so can you imagine if they just, they went on a great run last year, right? I mean, we just got in, but I mean, and you can start to see like Turner starting to get a little hot. I mean, like it's like they gotta get that momentum just to go over that, that next level that'll get them greater consistency. There's a guy.
Cast man, dude, what's up, buddy?
What's up,
guy,
buddy?
guy just forces himself into it. Like it was just a kiss goodnight, and now we're gonna force ourselves. We're gonna force ourselves. Like look at that.
Oh wow, dug it.
Yeah, buddy.
Get it. Stop digging in there, buddy. Get out of there.
What
Classic.
up, bud?
Gas man do. What's up, buddy?
Drop some knowledge, Cass. What do you think about Kyle Schwarber?
B knew you were on. He'd be flying down the stairs. Where's Cass? Cass is our teammate. Cass is our teammate.
You say bye.
That's great.
Bye.
See you, buddy. Apparently. Hey, hang out.
There you go. Yeah, wave.
He's the best.
He's like, who's that scary guy? Why is he in my basement? Why is he sitting on the couch that Daddy always sits on?
Giants coming to town, right? Is that what?
Giants up next. Giants and Cards, and then Angels.
Don't worry about the Cards, but
hope we see Wayno.
yeah, I'm sure.
I think we will. He just pitched, right?
Probably for AAA. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Kimbrel. When was the last time Kimbrel pitched?
It's been a while, man.
He threw the 8th Friday night.
Friday night?
I think Friday night he threw the 8th. I don't. Let me see. I know he went ahead of somebody.
I think you're right. I think
So it hasn't been a lot when you go like whatever we've been.
No.
What have we been, like 8.
He did not go Friday. Sorry.
And we were all Thursday.
So it was the day
Was it
before.
Wednesday?
He threw the 8th inning, probably on Wednesday then. I know he threw the 8th. And
Yeah,
then
I think it was
then-
Wednesday.
Then
Now
he
that
went
I'm
to
thinking about
Soto. In the 9-4 game, 9-4 win, he threw the 8th. Yep.
it. Yeah.
2 punch outs in the 8th. Soto threw the 9th. Yep. In the Blue Jays game. Yep. I knew it.
Yeah. And as Doc pointed out earlier, we're 2.5. We're 2.5 up right now on the as the first wild card. The Cubs are a half game behind. Well, we're 3 games, right? So the Cubs are a half game behind the Giants for that second wild card. And then you got the Reds, Marlins, and D-backs all a game back.
Cubs playing well. They got the
Cubs are
Tigers.
playing well.
Yeah, and you would play the Giants. You would play the Giants if it ended today.
They got the Tigers.
You're right.
You imagine the Cubs are going to continue. Yeah, it's a monster series for the
Yeah,
Phillies.
it's a big week. You know, another long homestand. Coming in right with the Giants, Cards, and then Angels. So you got to do some damage with these teams and being at home, right? You got to handle at home.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You got to at minimum go, 2 and 3 in each series, right? You have to.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah, well, that's
Without question.
that's what we talked about last Sunday. We thought with the upcoming 5 games, that's at least it's a 4-1, 3-2, and then wind up going 2-3 this week.
Yeah.
So. Got the split in Toronto, which we expected, or we hoped for.
And it looks like we get the Giants' top pitching prospect on Tuesday. Kyle Harrison's going to make his debut, so we're getting no hit on Tuesday. So we know how we do against guys we've never seen before.
Well, from tonight we came in a guy we just seen last week. So I mean, maybe the new guy will help us. I don't know.
Yeah, 3-3-3. We got the off day on Thursday.
A lot of off days over the last week for him.
Tomorrow, Noel out. Yeah, 2 off days in 1 week.
Yeah.
But it is funny. This team. I think what we posted on social media, right? This team goes from like wanting to like blow it up and just restart everything to like, oh my God, I think they go win the World Series, like with a snap of the fingers.
Yeah, you just got to hope that they're hot, come October, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just don't want the bats to. So all this is just talk, right? You just hope they get in, right? Secure your spot. I don't even care who we play. I'm not I don't really get caught up into that. Go beat whoever you got to play. Now the Giants scare me.
We'd be at home. We'd be at home though.
The Giants worry me just because it's Gabe. And I just know how Gabe likes to shove it right up my, and they'll come in here and they'll take the, they'll sweep it here. They won't go back to San Fran. They'll just take the first two and San Fran moves on. So, you almost hope it's not them just for the Gabe reason, the Gabe effect.
For sanity's sake.
Yeah. Typical Philly sports wise, right? Like how things work against us. Gabe's not good enough. Team beats us in a series.
And then they go on to win the World Series.
Yeah, seriously.
They get one past us.
Denise, I can't disagree. The team is inconsistent. That is the truth. I don't know if he sucks. I just got a lot of questions. No, I mean, maybe not even a lot of questions, just enough. Just enough questions. Enough. But let's see. It's about how you do in the postseason. So it's about getting in and then let's see. I mean, if your baseball team's ready to go in October and you get yourself to an NLCS again, I think it's safe to say that he is a good manager. You know what I mean?
He's been exposed. He's been exposed, but we'll be able to put the glass slipper back on, and we'll see. I mean, the glass slipper fit last year, fit beautifully.
Yeah.
So
it's tight. That was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Can't fit any better over here. Salvatore says, watch the Giants come in here and hit the ball like crazy. That's a sweep.
Wouldn't shock me.
Sweep. Jeff says they've done this all year. They score a lot of runs in one game, and then hardly anything the next game. Yep. Same stuff. Same stuff with the Phils. But so it's Giants, Cardinals, Angels.
And we go Nola, Walker, Lorenzen for the Giants, against the Giants. And then Alexander, I guess Harrison. They don't have it marked, but it's Harrison and then Cobb.
Okay. So 9 games, right? They're all 3-game sets.
Yeah, 3-game sets. All day Thursday.
So, well, hold on. Let me get through this. So that's our next topic, Phillies upcoming week. We did enough of the poll question, the Schwarber conversation, the inconsistency. They got to start playing more consistent baseball. Like I said, it doesn't got to be, I don't need to go 8-2 in increments of 10. I just need to be 6-4, 7-3. It doesn't need to be crazy. You just got to keep your foot on the gas, right? And just play winning baseball. And if you want to break it into 10-game sets, right? But our upcoming Phillies week is brought to you by our doc. Make them yours, and I'm gonna let the doc handle this one. Who better to handle this, Doc? What's going on? What's going on over at Specialized Physical Therapy that you can tell the family out there about?
Oh man, we're just getting ready to ramp up for the fall season here, man. It's been a good summer, but sports return, so that invariably brings some injuries and things. So we're getting ready to help the people out that are, that'll need our help,
You guys do a lot of the sports physicals too, right? Like the pre-physicals that the kids have to get. Do you do them?
No, that's done at the school or at the doc's offices, but we'll see them for we'll evaluate them for injuries, especially coming up like concussion wise or anything, sprains and strains, things like that. So, but no,
big time. So you don't see as much. Now, what about from the travel sports world summertime? Do you get a lot that time of the year?
Yeah, it's pretty consistent throughout the year, but definitely the fall season is huge, and then right into the the winter sports season, you see a lot.
Football, soccer.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, soccer's a big one, especially soccer, both boys and girls soccer, and then obviously football is a big one. So yeah, it keeps things busy.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. So the upcoming week, we talk about 9 games, teams you should win series against. What do you guys need? What do you need out of this 9? Right? Do we need a 7-2, which I think is asking a lot from what we've watched with this baseball team? Are we good at a 6-3?
Yeah,
I mean, where are we at?
got to be a 6-3 for me. I mean, like, this is playoff push time. You know, we talked about it last week. The NL's not as strong, so you should not fall 3. You know, with the added wild card, you know, it gives you that safety net. You know, the great Willendas. You know, they're not just walking on the tight wire with nothing below them. There's a safety net there. You know, there's an added wild card, so you have a little bit of breathing room. You know, as we discussed, you know, if they fall 3 spots and don't make it, it's a catastrophe. So depending on what spot they hold on to, you know, like you said, you get home field advantage and all that good stuff. But I'm still, like I said, it's time to go. It's go time. There's no more excuses. You know what I mean? So I'll give you 6-3. You know what I mean?
What's our lead in the wild card after who's the next team?
Giants are 2.5 back.
Giants
2.5 back, right? So that what I'm getting at is like we want to be at least like 6-3 is good because you want at least a 3 games above 500, right?
Yeah.
2 games above 500 on a 9-game thing would be keeping. That's too close. You know, you want to try to incrementally increase your lead.
Well, and if you,
especially if those losses to the Giants.
I was just going to say, took the words out of my mouth. If you stub your toe against the heinous Cardinals or the Angels, that's fine. But you take 2 out of 3 from the Giants, you've extended a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's even bigger.
Yeah.
Even bigger if you're able to if they're able to do that. Yeah, I'm right at 6-3. I mean, that's where they need to be. I'm not going to ask for anything crazy, but
you win all 3 series. You know, win all 3 series. I mean, I know it's not as easy as saying that, but you know that's what you're trying to do. Win all 3 series. You win 3 series in a row. You know, in your push to September.
Yeah,
the final month.
I would love a 7-2. 7-2 would make me very happy. But yeah, 6-3 is what you have to do. You have to do it.
7-2 is a statement, right?
Yeah.
7.
That's what I'm saying.
We talked about this over this, right? We talked about. I mean, listen, I talked about this Washington series need to be minimum 2 out of 3. This is a series you should go sweep, right? And here we are talking about them losing 2 or 3, and you know, and then going again in the next week where it's teams that aren't as good as you, right? Not just not as good as you on paper, not as good as you record wise. So right, paper's one thing, record's the other.
Yeah, you're
right?
trying to. Yeah,
So
exactly.
I mean, come on, and you got 2 teams traveling from the West Coast.
I mean,
I got 2 teams playing 4 or 5 games all week. You know what I mean? On their time.
You're trying to win. You're trying to win the week, and they didn't. You know what I mean? Like we expected 4-1, but we give them 3-2. You know, like the Nationals are swinging it enough where they steal one. Kudos to you, but that's that should have been a 2 out of 3. You got your split in Toronto against a good Blue Jays team, and instead they went 2-3. So here we are. Here we are hoping for a 6-3, and like you said, to Tom's point, anything above 6-3 is a statement. Anything below 6-3, disappointment.
It's also a statement.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
wrong way.
Yeah, it's a disappointment. You know what I mean? 5-4 don't do you anything.
No,
that's a disappointment.
Yep, that's just working your way through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going through the motions. That's a little go through the motions at 5-4.
Yep.
Yes, Walter, they did lose. That's right. They're coming from Atlanta too, so they've been on the East Coast for a second. But yeah, they did lose 2 or 3. They won today. They almost didn't do that. They base loaded, no outs. The Giants back-to-back strikeouts, and then Kirby walked the next guy. So that's how they scored their run in the 9th to win that game today. Yeah,
and I feel like everybody loses their Braves, but I hear you. I mean, it's factual. I mean, we're not killing you, Walter, but by no means. But Braves are pretty good.
Sean, bite them where, Sean? Because you're saying that I agree with you. Losing as a Nationals is no bueno, but come back and bite them when? So what you're saying is they don't make the playoffs? Is that where it comes back to bite them? That's the only way it bites you. You're not winning the division at this point. Yeah, so how does it bite you? I mean, where's the bite at? That's where I'm a little confused from. Where's the bite, Sean? they don't make it. That's where you're going on. So that's what you're saying now. First, you told me to wear baseball pants down here. That everybody has baseball pants in their closet. Now we're doing this. So, wow, it's a lot. If you're saying they're not going to, all jokes aside, if you're thinking they're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think that was even crossing my mind right now. Not yet. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
shouldn't.
Have a bad homestand.
Yeah.
Maybe we're there.
Yeah. I'm not telling you we're far off. I'm just saying I haven't really thought about it yet. Because we played really good baseball for a really long stretch, and
because there's 3 wild cards.
Yeah, we created some ground, right? We created ground finally. Like we were the team that created ground in the wild card, right? We weren't chasing anymore. Like once you get yourself up to the top in it, as a fan, you're like, okay, right? And you got a 3-game lead or 3.5 as a goal in the day from the second wild card. That's not even from the ones all the way back.
Right.
That's from the second wild card. So, when you look at the teams that are down there, you look at Cincinnati, like that's a cute story. I don't think they're ready yet.
And they brought up another rookie. That's 11. 11 rookers.
I have no problem with it. They brought up 11 hookers. According to Greg. It's unbelievable.
AC on the point. AC on the point.
The drop button.
That's what we said last week. That's why there should be no panic, right? But what kind of baseball team are you? That's our point. There should be no panic. There's 3 wild cards. So if there's 2 wild cards, then okay, can the Diamondbacks, Reds? I know I agree with you 1,000%. Mm-hmm. Cute story. Just like a little Build-A-Bear. Hey, like a little Build-A-Bear. Just pet the Reds. Pet them in the mall. That what a cute story, right? Garbage, right? Dela Cruz, awesome, most electrifying. Man, see you later next year. Good story. You know what I mean? Not even I don't even worry about the Reds, right? Cute story. And the Marlins, another cute story. More talent than an actual Build-A-Bear, but nothing. And the Diamondbacks, their little free-for-all. They're 7-3 in the last 10 to get back in this thing. They jump back to a game back of the Cubs and the Giants. So to fall three spots would be, my God, it's not even on the radar.
No, it's John's wrong again.
5-5. Phils were 5-5 in their last 10 and still holding 2.5 game lead.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, that's what but you just admitted to it. You're taking a walk, all right? And I'm glad you're taking a walk in some fresh air. It's good for your body, right? But if you're not saying they're not going to make it, then how does it bite them? Like seeding should mean nothing in the wild card. Like, okay, either way, it's a 3-game set. So you got to travel somewhere. Okay, we traveled to St. Louis and we beat them last year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Right? Sometimes playing. Sometimes
Hensley sucks. Knock it off, Tom. God damn. It's so fresh. Too soon, Tom.
He just kept going through the jab. He just kept going.
Yeah, well, because it's just a point, right? It doesn't necessarily matter. It's not the end all be all if you just make it, right? Would I prefer to 1? So the third worst or the second, because you're not even getting the third worst wild card. So your seeding here is like cool. It's cool. Like you're 1 or you're 2. 1 and 2 play each other. The 3 plays the other division winner, right? That's who gets the 3. So you're not jockeying for position here. It's not just jockeying for position. You really just don't want to be the 3rd, right? Because then you're essentially playing a division winner. I guess if that's a place where I wouldn't want to be, but that's a place I was just at last year again. Again, not jabbing. That's just a place we were just at. So why would that place scare me? Well, come on. Hey,
you're right.
So why would it scare me? If we're talking about bite them in terms of winning a division, that's a different conversation. But we can all be fair and realistic and say that opportunity was gone end of April.
But you're right. But like in that, to your point last year, and that's why I said a year ago they were the favorite. It had nothing to do with being, that's why I'm not a homer. Cardinal wise, what I mean? That's a 3-game series with Nola and with Wheels and Knowles. It was fantastic last year. So now in the same, in the same breath that Tom's talking about, if you got to go on the road, if the sky fell and you became the 3rd wild card, you you still feel okay about yourself because Wheels is fantastic and Walker's been great. All right, I'm gonna jump him over Knowles. I don't know if Topper will. I'm just gonna say that. You know what I mean? So you still feel good about you still feel okay about yourself, in a 3-game series.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't care where I'm at. Just get me in, right? The conversation is getting the Red October, playing postseason baseball, having an opportunity to extend your season, right, a little bit longer. The one place I don't want to be is a team waiting around. I think that's clear. I think it's sort of clear outside of Houston, who right? But if you look at it, sometimes that team waiting around, it doesn't fare well for them. So in reality, you almost want to be the team that's having the play. I'm not going to always stamp that. I'm not going to be mad about winning the division, right? But at the end of the day, like, it almost sucks sitting around, right, guys?
Yeah, if you're hot, man, keep going. Keep that momentum. That's the hardest thing to do, is just stop and then start up again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially the bats, right? Especially the bats.
Yeah.
Those
exactly the bats. Yeah,
your timing, right? You're seeing the ball well, and then you're taking a day off, or you're taking a couple of days off, and stuff like that. Yeah. No, absolutely, Doc.
Oh my God, Spells. Now you want to break balls. I've not seen overhand pitching ever in like 20 years, right? I was having fun. My buddy asked me to come out. I thought it was funny. I drew a walk when most guys are swinging and missing up there. All right, I see a submariner, which just makes it even better. I said, Steve, it's a submarine pitcher. You really want me to go get your bat right now? I'm good. I got no cleat. I'm good. And he's like, go get one. And I'm like, I'm wearing glasses. Like, I wear glasses. It's like, I can't even wear shades or feel like I'm a ball player. I'm wearing regular. I look like an analytical nerd.
Not like Chris Sabo with the rec specs.
No, and I'm proud of my walk. Right? The pitcher outside, I spit on him. Right? Spit on him, and should I swung 3-0? Probably. But at that point, I'm throw it to me twice.
Little umpire shortage in Florida too, but Spells, we love Spells, we love you, brother. Congrats on WrestleMania. Awesome, good for you, man.
But I post it for guys like you, Spells, because I love the semi attacks.
My wife loves Preston and Steve. She listens every morning on her way to work. So good for you, bro.
Yeah, big win, Spells. That was awesome.
Awesome.
That was awesome. I'm not a WrestleMania guy, but that's
yes. I don't have a single anywhere in my house, but cheers to you. Awesome.
A single.
Yeah, third wild card plays the weakest division winner, Walker. So in reality,
you ain't scared of the Brewers,
No, but this year bring on the Brew Crew, and they might not even win their division. You know what I mean? That's not over yet. I think both are like, man. When you talk about the Brewers, you talk about the the Reds,
the Cubs.
And the Cubs, right?
The Cubs are
they got
4 games.
I was gonna say they got a 4-game lead. It looks like in the win column, 4, like Greg said, 4 and 2, 6. Yep, 3-game lead.
The Cubs going another spurt.
Yeah, they got the Tigers. Yeah, they got the Tigers.
So they've won like 9 in a row,
and they're gonna miss Rodriguez as their best arm. So look, the Cubs are looking to sweep starting tomorrow. Yep, absolutely.
Sweet. All right, let's segue into our Sixers and Harden here, and let's keep the train moving tonight. James Harden update, which really isn't an update besides on his Instagram story last night. James thought it would be cute to put a wasn't real, right? But a cartoon fat suit in a closet, looking like it was loaded to come on out with it, right? It just shows you like you're 33 years old. That's childish. And then somebody in your camp told you how childish it was. Maybe it was your agent, your manager. I don't know. Maybe it was one of the strippers. We're not quite sure. But somebody in your camp said to you, "Hey, take that down, right? Take that down. That's no good." And it just shows you how out of touch of reality some of these guys get, right? At some point in their careers, they made so much money, so much stardom. The guy goes to China, right, where these guys are even more of rock stars than they are just even here in the States, right? That's how crazy it is over there. And the NBA's done a great job globally, right? And I love that. And that's why the NBA makes a ton of money. But at the end of the day, like, I love that these guys are rock stars everywhere. That's awesome. It's great for the game, right? But sometimes that goes to your head. And that's where we're at right now. We're at a point where, like, he's talking about playing in China. Then go play in China then. All right, go play in China. James, and within 2 weeks of, I'll give it 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks of you playing there, you're going to regret that decision, right? Besides the money side of it. So if you want to go play in China, that's telling me you think you can get a lot of money playing in China. That would be the only reason that you would do that, right? You're also the same guy who opted into your contract. So if anybody's a liar, right, I'm not absolving Daryl Morey of anything, but if anybody's a liar, it's you. You opted in. Right? Nobody put a hypothetical gun to your head that opt you into your contract. You did that, which is now a lie. Okay? So please, all you did is hurt your stock by going publicly and attacking your general manager, president of basketball operations, who's always had your back, who's always talked so highly of you. So if I'm another exec around the league, why would I want to do business with you? That's where the fact that nobody in your camp told you to be careful about what you said, and if they did and you didn't listen, goes to the ego that I don't want on my basketball team. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I don't want it. Hold out. Don't play. Hold as firm as you can, Daryl Morey, right? Because get back what you think you deserve back for him and hold tight. Because I won't complain one time this year, because I would rather see Joel Embiid with Maxey and Harris, and let's see how that plays for a second. Okay, let's see how that plays, because I'm over this. And he's almost on his way out too. Because if we don't get past the second round this year, listen, back up the Brink trucks for trade packages for Joel Embiid too. And that's my son. But I've had enough. And Doc, how much longer health-wise can we really expect from a guy like this?
Yeah.
Being fair with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just we've hung on so long for this process thing, and it's so frustrating, right? Just to see this another almost Ben Simmons moment come through again this year. We got to deal with this. It distracts us from what we need to focus on and try to achieve. I mean, we were so there, and then it's just like now it's like, where are we?
Doc, I hear you, Doc. It's like it's been like 6 years of this. It's like as the world turns, Sixers edition. It's disgusting. We're all tired of it. Like, oh my God, it's the same. Like you never know. It's somebody new every time. Well, I mean, obviously it was Ben and Harden, but it's just whether Joe's getting hurt or it's just soap opera every year. It's sickening.
Yeah, it's always something.
Yep.
Either drama internally or Joel's
hurt. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Tommy, you're right. I mean, if it's the same song and dance again, yeah, it's time to look in another direction.
Yeah, that's kind of a sentiment.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I love my Sixers. We all do, right? And we've sat through this, and we've been patient, and we've always talked about next year. And we have a year where Joel Embiid played his best basketball possible. All right. We all saw it. His game evolved. Somehow it got better, right? He got better. His turnovers were down, right? The elbow jumper was like me on a Fisher-Price net. It was automatic, all right? Automatic. So we saw the evolution of a guy that we didn't think could get better. We watched it. It's fair. This team got better. We watched him get better again. We watched him get better again. And then at the very end, on the final hour again, This guy gets injured again. It's his knee again. And you're like, no way. No way we have this like Hinkie curse on us. Like, this is real. Like, the curse of Sam Hinkie's going to live. Like, the curse of or Colangelo, however you want to phrase the curse, right? But there was a curse here. There's now a curse located around the process. We've witnessed it now. And sometimes you just say, that just happened. Like 1 year, 2 years, you say it just happened. We talk about trends on A2D a lot, right? And I don't try to get caught up in the things until they become a trend. This is a trend. And this is the most trending thing around is Joel getting hurt before our biggest games of the year. Because this team, let's be fair, they were different during the regular season. They showed a sense of toughness. They had a sense of winning some close games, some tough games. But then right when the going gets tough, isn't he hurt? With a chance that like now he's out 14 days or whatever it was, whatever the length of it was. And Doc, I just don't know if the knees can continue. And I hate saying that because I'm like anti being like, oh, he's a big guy. Can his knees hold on? Some guys don't have a problem with it. But once you start getting the injuries, Doc, right? I mean, how are we supposed to look at the meniscus? And what was this past year? Was it the meniscus again? What was it? Why am I drawing a blank?
I forget. Meniscus or
the foot
quad tendon. I don't
It was
think
definitely a knee. The year before was the foot, right?
Yeah, but these, so what you're saying,
No,
that
the face,
Broken face.
and the
that
hand.
was the
Remember,
year
it was the
before.
face and the hand.
And the
And
thumb.
then the year before that was the knee again.
Oh my God! I mean, Rick Brown would have a field day with Joel Embiid. He'd be like, "It's a thumb thing. It's a hamstring thing. It's a meniscus thing. It's
Here
a
we go.
heart
It's a
attack.
heart attack
Who are
thing.
you trying to attack? I did."
All right, here it is. Right in 2019 playoffs. In the 2019 playoffs, he dealt with a knee injury that kept him out for a game. In 2021, he suffered a torn meniscus that limited him. In 2022, he had the torn ligament in the thumb and a concussion, the broken orbital bone. All right, and then what is this year's? They don't want to give me this year's. All right, hold on. Well, they called it a sprain knee, but we know it wasn't sprain. Sorry, guys. Go ahead. You guys can talk. I'm going to try to.
Hey.
Yeah, but
He missed game 4 due to a sprained knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's an LCL. It was an LCL. So
all those things, man, it's cumulative effect, right? Over time. I mean, just not even an injury, just wear and tear is a big guy, right? You said and he's playing a full season. And it just, I wonder if he's breaking down, or his body can only take so much. That's so much load for a whole year. I mean, I know the whole load management is not a very popular concept anymore, because it's like, hey, guys play all the time before, but it's like you said, you see a trend in this guy. Like you get to the playoffs and it's like he runs out of gas, or his body just can't keep up. And I'm not sure what the solution is. But like you're right. I don't know how many more post seasons he can actually be involved in. If the trend continues. And then that, and if that's with the Sixers, that doesn't bode well for us, because then the outcome's the same. We don't get to where we need to be, or we want to be.
No, you're right. You're right. This is an interesting question that Reggie Miller asked on a podcast. Has a player ever wanted to leave after playing with the MVP, or after a player won the MVP?
I mean, I'm sure there is, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure if you look through the depths of history, you're going to find the answer. But to his point, there's no one worth noting of somebody of James Harden's ilk, right? And status, right? Or rankings in all-time, whatever list, right? Yeah, I can't imagine somebody, that notable wanting to leave what is perceived to be a really good situation and tandem, right?
We also have to factor in the crumb that is James Harden, and the loser that is James Harden, right? Like, not everything's equal. Not everything always is just this lines up. No, like, some things are just different. This is different. This is a guy selfish. It's clear as day how selfish he is.
Which the media,
he wants what
which Reggie Miller
wants.
and the media would never admit, right? To your
That's what
point.
No, like, he's the most
the guy-
overrated top 75 player of all time. Okay, he has no right being even on the list. All right, I
And
can
all-
go
like
back.
you said-
If you let me scrub it, I'll scrub it, and I'll find 10 guys minimum that are better than James Harden should probably be on that list. It's a joke. It's a joke to the NBA. I don't care. I don't care about all the extra foul shots. I don't care about the points per game. I care about wins. All right, at the end of the day, yes, all that, the cumulative stats only work for me when you're at least a little bit of a winner, right? That doesn't mean you have to win NBA Finals, but you better be a Western Conference Final champion. You better cut some nets down the West minimum, right? Every timeline's different, right? Those guys who had to go against the Jordan teams. So are we going to call Patrick Ewing a bust? No. Look who we had to go against, but he was always in the Eastern Conference Final, right? So the Knicks were always there, per se. It was one of their toughest advocates at the time, or whatever you want, not advocates,
Adversary.
Adversaries.
Yeah, got the thesaurus out. I got you.
Yeah, my bad. We'll call it on the Heat. We'll blame it on the Heat. We're doing outside shows like Chrome. Hear the crickets in the background. I feel like I can't even see myself.
Just make sure you document it with pictures.
But the point of your rant is 100% spot on.
Video.
This dude is. Listen, I can't believe this guy has people that actually defend him because it's disgusting. You know what I mean? So if you're defending him, it's just you're either a wannabe family member or you're a fanboy. I don't know what you're defending because this is his MO, right? When things might not go his way, or even in this case, he wants to make a scene and force his way out. He wants to force his way out of places instead of sticking it out, right? You make enough money. If you got a problem with Daryl Morey, then talk to him, right? You don't make a video about it. And you don't talk to, kids in China, that has to be translated, all right, about your distaste for Daryl Morey and what a liar he is, all right, dude? Did you think you were getting max money? I mean, I don't care what the so-called handshake was, dude. Like, right, you're not good enough anymore, all right? So you made a ton of money, and a guy that wants a win, a guy that's not a me guy, would never make this an issue. All right. He might say behind the scenes, I don't like what you did. It's dirty pool, but I still got a lot of money coming to me and I want to win a championship. And maybe we can do it here. No, he's a drama queen. And now he wants to make it about him and forcing everybody's hand to, all right, well, if you don't fire Morey, then I'll never play for him again. So I'll hold out.
Look what Doc said. It's telling. It's
Absolutely.
telling, guys. What Doc said is telling. We can't just run from it because it's Doc saying it. Like, we can't run from it. The things that came out and the things that said that were said are very telling. And it's not he's not taking shots. It was the facts. Like, he thought Joel could be out more with his teammates, but he's a homebody. That's okay. I got no problem with a guy being a homebody. Right now, on the hardened side of things, the fights over traveling. All those kinds of things, they matter, man. When you're trying to win, those things matter, right? You got to be taking private jets wherever he wants to. You got a game the next night. What are we talking about here? So the second this guy realized, another coach is in here, and listen, forget Nick Nurse for a second. Rico Hines will hold you accountable, right? Not many coaches and assistant coaches have 156,000 followers on their Instagram accounts. All right, I'm just going to be factual about this. Rico Hines has done a lot of big things in player development, has a ton of respect around NBA circles. He's one of the biggest reasons P.L. Siakam gives a lot of credit to Rico Hines in his development. A lot of the Raptors, that you're like, man, where all these young players come from? Well, they're developed by Rico Hines. All right, you know how the guys run the Summit League in New York? Rico Hines runs the same type of the leagues. So he's well respected. I don't go out on a limb crowning assistant coaches around the league, right? But when a guy has that much of a following on his social accounts as an assistant, a guy who's been in player development and then became an assistant coach, he's not even an NBA head coach. He's got more followers than Nick Nurse has. It's telling on the respect he has. And he's a defensive-minded cat. Another defensive-minded cat coming in with Nick Nurse, who's defensive-minded. Is that not telling to you guys where a guy we know doesn't want to play defense? And let's be real. If we want this system to work, we can't have two perimeter defenders, one who's willing, who's too small, and another who's just not willing, right? That's no bueno in today's NBA. It's no bueno. So see you later. Sayonara. I've had enough. I got a young backcourt. I got another young kid in Jaden Springer, who I really hope Rico helps a lot in his development as a player, and Nick does, right? Who I think's is good defender, right? Likes to muck it up a little bit. Let's see if his development comes around. Melton likes to muck it up defensively, right? And Tyrese likes to. He's just tiny. So let's see how that grows, right? Because I'm tired of it. I wasn't even done with Doc. I mean, I was done with Doc because it's like we didn't win. Time to go, right? I wasn't necessarily done with Sam, but I was okay with the regime going, right? I was okay with that going and moving on, right? Sometimes you got to turn the table and try something new, right? Maybe the next guy can get through to these guys, right? But it's telling when you hire a new staff, the guy, and then real quick, did the Sixers put out the Houston rumors? Because I just want to talk about liars for a second. Because who can't put that out? Because let's be real. Let's be real. Udoka wasn't coming in there and going to give in, and Houston's GM wasn't sure Zach wasn't going to give max money to James Harden with a young roster and let young kids learn from him, right? Probably not the guy they want kids learning from. Now, I thought he helped Tyrese Maxey. I thought he was an on-the-court helper, but his true colors came out, and here they are. So there's the ring.
He's a self-sabotager, all right? Let alone a team killer, team cancer, all that other stuff. He's a self-sabotager, and that's what you do when you pull the pin when things are going bad or you don't feel like you're getting your way, all right, and you want to take your ball and win. You just pull the pin, all right. You pull the parachute, and that's what he does. You know what I mean? And that's what he's doing here. And it doesn't look like you said, new regime, and all of a sudden he's like, you know what? It's time to go. Let me find an excuse. Let me find a way out. All right, and let me self-sabotage.
Yep, agreed. You guys have anything more on Embiid, Harden, Sixers?
Well, no, it's just you look across the street too, and you look into like a Phillies team who is, as frustrated they are. You look though, and that locker room is one, right? Or everything that you hear out of that locker room is that they're all together, right? And you just look at the contrast of the two teams. Of hey, when the Phillies are going down, going bad, at some point they're coming back because of they're playing for each other, or they at least tell us that they're playing for each other, right? You can see the Sixers when they go bad in Game 6 and Game 7 that it's just like, all right, we're just gonna give up because I'm not playing. I don't feel like I'm playing for the guy next to me anymore.
Yeah, no, we saw a give up.
Yeah,
we saw a give up. So you hope another year something changes. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Hey, guys, I got to roll, man.
Yeah, go.
Early.
All right, Doc.
See you, Doc.
Doc, we'll have you on again soon.
Great to having you, buddy.
Yeah.
Let everybody know where they can find you on your way out, as please do.
Doc charges batteries today. Doc, he charged the batteries. Hour 9. Appreciate it, brother.
Tell you, man. Yeah, you guys can find me at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We take all major insurances for any of your orthopedic needs, get you back into the game or just getting back into doing what you do in life. So give us a call. Cherry Hills 856-424-0993 and Burlington 609-880-0880. All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Doc.
All right, awesome.
You're the
Thanks,
best.
Doc.
You're the best, Doc. Talk to you soon.
Yep, thanks.
All right, Eagles news. I actually have to go pee real quick. So I was going to ask Doc, and I'll just ask you guys. You guys can talk about it when we come in.
I was going to go too. Imagine we just left Greg here staring at himself.
I've been literally holding it for the 22-minute mark. Like, what are you doing?
I'd figure it out.
I'm a team guy. I got it.
Go for it. Someone go.
Do you guys? I'm going to go. But would you guys play Jalen Hurts at all in the final preseason game?
In the final one, that's tough. I don't.
I know. I feel like
it's the old school, right? It's the old school, and I think all of us, right?
Oh, there's only 3. There's only 3, right? Remember that.
There's only 3.
Yeah, there's no 4. I don't think, unless there is a 4th I don't know about. I can check, but I thought there was only 3 now.
I will check. I thought you were peeing.
I was, and I realized your Google never works, so I wanted to just.
I see. Shots fired, huh? Shit. Shots fired, huh? You're right. It is only 3.
With sausage in hand, and he's shooting.
It's
and he's
3,
shooting.
and then 2 weeks off. 3 weeks off. Because they play this Thursday, and then opening weekend is until the 7th. Is until
no, that's it. Yeah, you're right.
They play this Thursday.
2 weeks off.
And then then they go 2 weeks off.
But Tom's right. Three preseason
games.
It ends.
We play Thursday on Amazon Prime.
Sunday the 27th is the last.
Anthony Richardson
is the last NFL game. But Eagles Colts on the 24th. The last game of that preseason is the 27th.
Okay.
And week 1. Yep, week 1 for the Lions Chiefs is the 7th.
Is the 7th.
So, and the 10th is for the Eagles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 2 weeks off. I mean, would I like to? Sure. Is it going to happen? No. You know what I mean? But that's the old school guy in me to where, and I think in all of us, right, to where we're used to seeing guys at least in some sort of action in the preseason, right? I mean, I know there's reports out there that Rodgers is going to play this week for the Jets. At least I don't know how much, but I heard the reports that he's going to at least play. I would like to see him a series, 2 series, but do I have to? No. And I think this coaching staff and Sirianni, they've been very clear throughout them being here that they are more concerned about being healthy than getting like the top guys work. They'd rather do that in the practices and the joint practices and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I mean, like I said, we talked about it last week. Everybody's different. I mean, I don't know how you can go a whole preseason, and I know you have joint practices and all that good stuff. And Tom will tell you, and he's right, and he's not wrong. Coming out of it healthy is the number one priority, but also the speed of the game. I mean, if you play one or two series, I think. I think that goes a long way. I mean, that's just how I am. I mean, I'm not looking at Walter's thing. I was just about to say, I didn't see what Walter said, but Mahomes, another 10 for 15 yesterday. You know what I mean? And 10 for 15, another 105. Like, he's played the first 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
That's Andy, though, right? That's old school, though, right?
I understand.
To your point, right?
Yeah,
That's Andy.
And a world champion. Before he ever was. So you say, all right, well, I mean, for all the people that want to take a shot at the old guys, it's a different year. It's a different generation. Sweeps, would you get off your fucking dinosaur? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, okay. There's a guy that's a dinosaur that does it pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe his way works. I'm not saying his preseason way is the way to go. I'm not preaching that. I'm just saying there's a guy that, to your point, that's Andy's mindset, and I'm sure that's Pat. Pat has a lot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we watched it. If you watch the quarterback thing on Netflix,
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Watch it. Highly recommend. But Pat tells him when he hurt his ankle that he was good. And Andy's like, "I'm gonna get you out of here," and he's like, "No, I'm good." And he went and got an X-ray to make sure it wasn't broke, and then. It was just about playing through pain. You know what I mean? And I understand that's the regular season. I'm just saying, Pat has a different mindset. So I'm not saying Jalen doesn't and other guys don't. They're going to do what the brass tells them. You know what I mean? But you also at some point have to say, hey, listen, I like to see whether, to your point, whether it's one or two series. I just want to see. I want to be in the left lane. Can I be in the left lane when shit's fucking
things going by me?
When shit's speeding up, right? Instead of, I'm wearing the red jersey in practice and I can't be touched, and I get all that. You know what I mean? It's a coveted spot. And as we saw with Mariota, the Eagles go with Hurts. You know what I mean? So I get that concern. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody in the NFL wants their backup quarterback playing, or he'd be the starter. So, but yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I mean, I don't like that long of a delay. I wouldn't like going through all training camp without playing at all. Mm-hmm. So that's me. And then, like you said, if it was 5 days before, like it used to be, or 6 days before, then absolutely. But you're talking about a solid 2 weeks, and then not getting any reps against real, competition. And listen, if that third game and you find out the third game and they're playing. They're playing the Colts, and the Colts are playing all backups. Okay, I understand it's not, you're not playing against all pros, but you're still playing against the speed's different. When there's referees and everything's different. It's not the joint practice where he's 5 feet from him and the whistle blows. You know what I mean? Like, So I would have liked to see him get some live game reps. I mean, but people are going to tell you, listen, health's the most important thing, and I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to do that to you guys. But you don't know week one. When week one happens, what are you going to do then? That's the way I've always looked at it. So I know the more times that you roll the dice, or the more hits you take, chances are something could happen. So I understand that point of it, but I also think that the speed of the game and getting live reps goes a long way too. Whether they're preseason reps or not. I didn't say you got to play 3 quarters. I didn't say you got to play a whole quarter, but I'd like to see him play 1 or 2 series this whole preseason.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hot and cold with it. Like, it used to matter to me more. A couple of reasons why, like, it's to each your own. I look at it now, right? Like, do what you think's best organizationally. Right? If you think this is best and you're going to come out and win 13 games or 14 games, you're not going to hear a peep from me.
Sure.
Right? The joint practices do help with some of the live reps. I'm not as concerned about a guy who's been hit a lot like needing to take a hit either. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he's been hit enough, right? Just over his career. Like, he doesn't need to take hits to feel game hits, right? And I'll be the last to say that the practices are the same speed either, right? I'm definitely not going to say that, right? There's nothing better than game reps, right? But then we also know the way the NFL is now, and come preseason it's a lot of vanilla when it comes to defenses in the preseason to begin with, right? Everybody wants to show this clip of Trey Lance in the fourth quarter. Now, it's the fourth quarter, but it's 4 minutes left. They're down 7. All right, and he takes them on a drive. And every pass but one pass I can make. They're check downs. It's nothing that proves to me anything, because they're playing a prevent style defense, right? And then even when they're not, you're doing a lot of vanilla stuff. So yeah, it's just really for the speed. He didn't do it last year. But I don't think he took a preseason snap last year.
No.
So he didn't do it last year. Didn't seem to affect him personally. So if it doesn't affect you, I'm not going to say anything. If I feel like it affects your game and you come in cold, then week 1 I'm going to have something to say about it, right? So
yeah, and I don't think anybody should ever have to take a hit. I know what you're saying. Like boxers, certain guys like to be bounced around a little bit to feel like, all right, I'm in this. You know what I mean? I'm in something here. You know what I mean? But I don't think any quarterback should need to take any hits. You know what I mean? Like, and especially your QB1,
Yeah. Like me saying hits is because he runs a lot, right? So like, I don't think he needs to take a hit running to feel like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like you're saying, right? It just doesn't matter. It's not like maybe an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman might want to play and get their beak wet, right? Just for the physical side of it. But even that, joint practices, they're working. They're getting after a little bit. So it's just the way the NFL's going. Come preseason, at some point, there's only going to be 2 preseason games.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's just going to be for those guys trying to make roster spots. It's really just a glorified tryout.
it's fun. Sorry.
No, that's it.
No, I was just gonna say, real quick to end it. It's funny though. You see the old school type of mentalities and like Andy's and Doug's, right? To where, as we mentioned, Patty's playing, Trevor's playing, right? Aaron's gonna supposedly suit up for this week, right? So you see like the old school mentalities, and then you see the new school, and you're right. If it works for your individual team, there's no rhyme or reason as to what is right or wrong. It's just a matter, but you better be ready, right? And I think, to Walter, and I know Sweeps brought it up too. Last year we barely beat the Lions week 1, right? So you better be ready if you're not going to play an entire season or entire preseason, or you're going to play like one series and then have 2 weeks off again. We better be ready to go on September 10th.
Well, my question to you is, didn't we score a ton of points in that game?
The Lions game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a very high-scoring game, yeah.
So to that, was it like they weren't ready offensively, or was it more like, okay, your defense, because your defense
it probably was more defensively, yes. I think
but yeah, I mean that matters, right? So
Sure.
we're talking about defensively. We're talking about defensively. That's where I think it matters more. Where the speed of the game. And sometimes offensively it matters.
38-35.
Yeah, sometimes offense matters with stuff like that too, right? I'm not going to say like, getting those reps can't help you. Just the way the NFL has turned into these freaking joint practices all the time. That's how most teams are looking at their reps, right or wrong. Not saying I agree with it. I agree with what wins you football games, right? And like I said to my dad earlier, the reason that I probably don't play him game 3, and it's just a personal reason. If he's going to get hurt, I'd rather him get hurt in a meaningful game. Yeah. If you're going to get hurt, you can get hurt anytime. I'm not wavering from that. But I'd rather you get hurt in a meaningful game. At least you gave me some meaningful football, even if that's a quarter, right? Like if you're going to go down, and with the way our backups are competing for that second backup, and Mariota, it's preseason, doesn't matter, but our season's over one way or the other if Hurts goes down. But these times, man, I want to give the guy who's unfamiliar with the offense many live reps probably than the guy who's not. So
yeah, I think that's what we were saying when you stepped out. More so, I can't speak for Greg. Like at this point, I don't need to see him in week 3. I just would have liked to see a series or 2 or 3 during the preseason at some point. You know what I mean? Not in the last one though. I mean, I know there's 2 weeks, the 2-week break, but that's fine. I would have liked to see something. You know what I mean? I think we all know joint practices are different. I'm not there all the time, but I've seen enough Hard Knocks where, like the whistle blows and everything's vanilla, as it very well is in a game as well. I don't know, how beneficial the joint practices are. You know what I mean? I think the hogs up front, I think it's huge for the interior guys. They like to get after it, and they're the guys that like to feel contact. Those guys like to get their hands on people. Sorry.
Yeah, I said those guys might want to play when you're away. Like those guys might want the action because they are like that boxer, right? They do want to deliver some blows and feel the contact and feel like they're ready. Yeah, I mean Hurts wasn't great week one, but he also wasn't bad. Yeah, 18 for 32, 243 yards, about 7.5 yards of completion, and then he rushed 17 times for 90 yards and a TD. So, I mean, it's typical, pretty, he was sacked one time. His rating was 80. So it wasn't his best game. Also wasn't like downright awful either. So We'll see. We'll see how he starts week one. You know what I mean? It all gets judged off of performance, right? You want to do this? Fine. You're not going to hear nothing. You win 14 games, right? You win 13 games. You win 12 games. Whatever it may be, you're not going to hear that from me until it fails. So last year it worked for you. Let's see if it works again, Nikki. All right? See if it works again. So crumb in a week time, boys. I don't even know. I got to even think about one right now. So.
Yeah, I think he's all right, Walter. I think he's had plenty of time to heal up. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, $255 million makes it feel better too.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit better. Run trash was terrible. I mean, run defense, not run trash. Run defense was trash. Mr. Rudy, I agree. Our defense was atrocious that game.
Yeah,
I think they took the hit of not playing any meaningful snaps. So, some of the young guys have, really not the older guys. So, all right, crumb in a week time. Family out there, what do you guys have too? Everybody's got crumbs.
I had something and I lost it. Jeez, I should have wrote it down. I feel like an old man.
Well, I think Wander Franco. I think Wander Franco deserves it.
Yeah.
Now we got a little bit more. And Martian just said it. Yep. I mean, he was like an honorable mention last week because the news broke right when we were on, so we didn't have a lot of details. We have a little bit more details, not much more, but enough to know, like,
he might never play again.
Yeah, there's substance. Substance to this for sure. But I mean,
I'm not laughing at the scenario, but
no.
Of course.
He's just a crumb. I don't even have to go deep in it and go any further. Like, I think it speaks for itself, right? Speaks for itself. I don't need to go deeper. He's a moron. If he throws away his big league career, but he's a crumb for that even being in conversation. They even have enough validity to be where it's at right now, a week later, right? So crumb and maybe the century, right? Maybe the century. He's in the running. He's in the running, and I get it. Listen, it's a different culture. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think any cultures go with that.
No.
Oh, and if there is a culture go with it, okay. So. No,
No, you're right. Especially when it comes out like right now, because there's going to be the guys that defend them and say, "Oh, Peter always did it." And that was also. I'm not saying yes or no. I have no idea of those details. I'm saying it came out like 30 years later. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like that came out when Pete was the hit king or when Pete was doing his thing. You know what I mean? Like. That came out like 30 years later, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it was, I don't know the exact years, but it came out recently, so I'm not saying that wasn't true or anything or didn't make it any better. It's still, if that's what Pete did, he's a piece of shit too. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I ain't giving nobody a pass, you know what I mean? But, this came out right now. This came out right now, so. This wasn't after he retired. This wasn't, and like Greg said last week, hush money and all that stuff, so, if there was if it wasn't any validity to it, it would have went away right away. It would have been like, this is just a money grab. And this is for him to be removed, from playing, the Rays know something, they know something isn't good. Because he'd still be playing. If they'd say, let's wait for his day in court or whatever, I don't, there's no reason for the Rays to get ahead of it, because, unless there's, something that's so major, that Bowtie reported or Jeff Passan reported, somebody gave them something that spooked them, so to speak. Like where the Rays said, okay, let's put the brakes on, because, we do live in a country where it's, innocent until proven guilty, so to speak, So for them to hit the panic button, they got something. They saw something that's no bueno,
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For me, real quick, just the whole Sixers organization, as we alluded to 20-something minutes ago, like it's a clown show, and as a fan, it's disgusting. And, we expect, we every year we expect different, and we just we keep getting dealt the same hand. It's whether it's injury, drama, terrible play, it's just, it never ends, and we just say as fans and as a basketball city, I know it's a football, it's an Eagle city, but, it's basketball when the Sixers are rolling and they're, and everybody believes in them. This is a huge basketball city, a lot of tradition in this city, in the Philadelphia area. From Sunny Hill to everything.
The Big Five,
Big
right?
Five, everything. The history is, and it's an amazing city. Absolutely great. So it's just disappointing, and like I said, we can point our finger at one guy, one here. It's just for me, it's just a collective diaper show, and I'm fucking tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, agreed. Couldn't agree more.
No, absolutely. I think I remembered my one. It's Ticketmaster, and it's all these online ticket brokers. We talked earlier, Spells won tickets. Good thing Spells won tickets, because the fees for tickets are just out of this world. I went to try and just see what tickets were for WrestleMania, and it was almost $1,000 in fees. It's like $750 on top of already the $3,000 for both nights' tickets in fees. Like, it's like buying another ticket worth of fees. It's so outrageously overpriced, and it's just out of control. And, we talked about it a few times, a little bit ago or a while ago, when we talk about like the Super Bowl, we talk about the Final Fours, and the World Series games, and how if you're not already a season ticket holder, how expensive those tickets are to enjoy as like a fan, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's outpriced the general fan, especially in this economy, right? You know what I mean? Like, all tickets to those major events, and I get it, they're going to be more. I'm good paying an elevated price. I'm not trying to pay the $40 that I paid for the ticket to go watch the Twins last Friday, right? But just the outrageous pricing for these tickets, and then to hammer you with fees on top of it, is just absolutely terrible. And I don't know if there's a way. I don't even know like what the way to fix it is, right? Because obviously they're in business to make money, and what I mean.
Dude, you're 100% on. I didn't mean to cut you off. The only way to stop stop it is to don't go. You know what I mean? I know that's easier said than done, because there's millions of people, so somebody's going to go. You know what I mean? But that's the only way to to have a normal boycott. Now, I'm not talking about like, well, my kid didn't play today, so I'm going to boycott you. You know what I mean? I'm talking about normal shit, like something of substance. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about tearing down shit. I'm talking about like something of substance that you can, that's where it comes when you hit pigs in their pocket. That's when they'll regroup. You know what I mean? That's the only way to do it. You know what I mean? And then non-crumb in that meme that I sent you guys earlier, kudos to the Atlanta Falcons. I don't care what their record is on the field. It appears that food at the stadium is amazing. You know what I mean? That was a hell of a spread that I saw. Who knows if it's truthful? I know you don't believe everything you see on social media, but goodness gracious, that was a hell of a spread for $20.
$20, you know what I mean?
Like, shit, you go to Phillies games, you're 40 in. You're 40 in for anything. You're at least 50 in for what I was looking at right there on that.
Yeah.
And that chicken fingers,
That
popcorn.
there
pretzel.
cost me $40 the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even get a beer. I got a soda.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a joke. Ticketmaster, all of it, like Airbnb, the list goes on. We went down to Naples, to see Len's parents, and they hit you with the surcharge. Now, to me, it's like the hotels do the same thing to you, right? Somehow you get hit with all the charges hotel wise too. So they even themselves out, right? They even themselves out in a way. But in reality, like you get hit with $100 in charges, 150 in cleaning fees. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't have a mess here.
Hit me with that after I trash your place, right?
Yeah, come on. So, like, where's that all going to? There's no way the cleaning service costs you $150. No. So, but whatever. Everything's inflated. It's a joke. People have a hard enough time affording groceries. Better yet, going, and being able to watch their favorite teams play, right? And it's all part of it. All runs together. It's greed.
Parking $25. You
can't. It's greed, man. It's a joke. It's greed. It's disgusting. And well, that's a podcast show for another day. Right?
Yeah. I was just gonna say. I mean, I hear you, Greg. It got me a couple weeks ago when me and B went. $25. I mean, it's
hard to go, dude. And I'm not telling you any of us are broke. Like I'm not over here crying broke. It's hard.
And
$40 for the ticket, right? And we set up section 328. Right, I have no problem paying whatever ticket. But then, all right, so $40 into 25 to park plus the $5 for the toll. We're at $70 already.
Yep.
And haven't even walked in the door.
And like Hills is saying, the poster ticket costs money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like they're making it on both ends.
Yeah.
They're making it both ends.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, real quick before we leave, like the cleaning fee is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to have like insurance, like with Uber, Greg drove Uber for a while, somebody throws up in your back seat, then you get hit for it. You know what I mean? But if the ride is clean, I mean, if the ride is copacetic, what are you charging me for nothing? You know what I mean? Like you don't charge me. So if I leave your Airbnb beautiful, which, most of us are human beings, that's what we do. You know what I mean? Like anywhere I stay, I clean up. Like if I stay in a hotel, all my trash is in the trash can. You know what I mean? Like, all you got to do is wash the sheets, right? And clean the bath. Clean the bathroom. Yeah, exactly. Clean the bathroom. I probably took a couple, fucking 15 shits. You know what I mean? So clean that up a little bit. But everything else is, you're ready to rock and roll for you. I didn't leave you. I didn't leave an animal house for you.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. My water bottles are thrown away. Your stuff's in the trash. Like, even when I was younger, you travel. I wasn't trashing places.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's all. Like I said, another podcast for another day. But yeah, $150 in cleaning fees, and I vacuumed the whole place down. Like I got a 2.5-year-old running around eating food everywhere. So of course I'm going to vacuum the place. I would vacuum it anyway. Sometimes maybe not. Like if I'm crystal clean, maybe I don't vacuum the whole place. But with a young guy, I'm making sure I'm not leaving crumbs in your place. You're going to come in there, and you got to fluff some pillows, maybe, right? You got to clean the beds, the shower. But even that, like I'm not going to leave a shower trashed. Yeah. Either like you try to wipe some things down and you try to leave it sort of the way you came in, right? I'm not telling you to not re-wipe stuff, but the maid's gonna be like, "Oh, okay, this is 25 minutes."
Yep.
All right, boys, great stuff.
Absolutely,
always
great stuff. We're brought to you by our doc. Make them yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy LLC, location in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They accept most major insurances, so go check them out. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Doc was on with us tonight. Appreciate him coming on. Love having him. Yeah. Been a sponsor of A2D for a long, long time. So we thank him. Everybody out there, we thank you guys for listening, tuning in. Stay tuned tomorrow. Here's the thing with Mitch Williams and myself. And our new host of the show for right now, as long as I keep bringing him in because I don't feel like hosting stuff all the time. That's a ginger. So, yeah. But yeah,
it'll be well documented.
Sometimes I want to be an analyst.
It'll definitely be on social media. So I mean, when all else fails, I mean, bring in a guy that's going to plug it and plug himself.
Plug it up. plug me up from not having the host. Sometimes I want to be an analyst. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I don't have to read all the reads, and it's one talk sports sometimes. So
yeah, color. Yeah, listen, nothing wrong with being a color guy, but
taking a step back. No, I'm just kidding. All right, boys, great stuff. No Brian Wilson. He's down in Wildwood. Probably on the rides right now. Really, really soaking it in. Nick DelGozzo below. Greg Milakovic. I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, we love you. We appreciate you. And turn your damn alerts on. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and we appreciate it.